If you search Winbees on YouTube, you'll be able to find Winbees channel. The first video contains a field of application which describes where the Latte Art Pen is applied. First, it is used for latte art for coffee. Second, it is used to decorate cakes, bakeries, cookies, and etc. Third, it is used for planing on foods, plate, or cutting boards. Fourth, it is used for decorating the designs such as acrylic or stencil. In case of the design, you can make your own special decorations for company name, cafe logo, signature, phrases, and pictures by customizing your own decorations. I recommend Latte Art Pen for those people. First, baristas or cafe owners who use it for latte art, or anyone who enjoys home cafe. Second, I recommend it for patisseries, cooks, chefs that use it for bakery and food decorations. Third, teachers from schools, cultural centers, welfare institutions who need hands-on education equipment. Fourth, parents who need emotional play supplies to help their children develop their creativity and five senses. There is a warranty and a user guideline in the second video of Winbees channel. First, there is a video created with a multi-language that involves Korean, English, Spanish, Japanese, and Chinese. The powder injection method, cleansing method, video of warranty for each cases are provided to make self-solving available. Please check here for any inquiries. Finally, this powder test is the most important video. As there are so many kinds of powder, we are providing you with a test video for convenient confirmations. You can use the powder sold in the market. However, it is not 100% possible as there are some that cannot be used. Popular products like Nestle, Nesquik, and Kirkland come out well. When you become familiar with the powder's flowing speed and thickness, you can easily decide what to use in the future. If you have any other sharper material, you can use that to clear out the hole. Even for the same brand powder sold by a same company, the particles may be different due to its viscosities, particle sizes, thus some of them will not work. So we tested about 120 powders sold in the market and made it into a video. First, the cinnamon powder test video. Second, the green tea powder test video. Third, the chocolate and cocoa powder test video, and etc. There are test videos for various powders. Due to the nature of the powder's textures, there may be some powders that can come out either quickly, slowly, or not at all. Powders that are dense, viscous, and extremely fine may not come out very well. And raw powders such as flour, sugar powder, or organic green tea powder belong to this criteria. Powder made purely of the original ingredients that do not contain other ingredients. Powders with low density and viscosity may come out very quickly. Sugar powder and yogurt powder are part of this. We have listed famous powders that are commonly used in Korea according to their brand, company, and other Korean alphabetical order. The customers can easily find a video of powder brands that they use. Even if the powder that you used originally doesn't come out well or gets stuck, do not worry about it. It is not a defect. The machine will not break down with any kind of powder. If it doesn't come out well, shake off the powder bottle and choose a powder that comes out well and put it in again. If it is stuck, unfold the clip and pierce in it. Fine particles powders such as flour or sugar powder or powder with a very high density or viscosity or very low powders are extremely rare. However, if you're extremely willing to use these powders due to its beauty, I recommend you to try a modified version of these materials. Then you can make and use your own personal powder recipe. For example, fine particle powders such as flour or sugar powder do not come out well, but mix them with the flowing ingredients such as sugar or yogurt powder. Then grind them in a coffee beans grinder and test them for use. Then the powder with a poor quality and a powder with a flowing nature can be neutralized and come out well. For powders with thick and rough particles such as coffee grains or parsley powder, try grinding the powder back with a grinder and then try testing it. The product doesn't break because the powder keg is able to contain all sorts of powder. So please try all sorts of various powder and find the prettiest powder that suits you. There exists an inconvenience from selecting and trying all sorts of powders, but once you decide a color, you can use a pretty color powder constantly. Our YouTube channel arranged and tested around 120 powders that are sold in Korea, so make sure to check out the video and select the most appropriate powder for you. For our global customers, first, you can use the powders from the global brands like Nestle, Nesquik, Kirkland, and so on. Second, if you're using a local brand, choose the ones that are popular and see the compatibility with their product. When testing out the compatibility, it is best to try out all kinds of product at once to collect the data. Third, you can modify the powder's texture by mixing them with the well-flowing powders and grinding them together in a coffee grinder. This method can possibly help with the flow. When you become familiar with the powder's flowing speed and thickness, you can easily decide what to use in the future. Now, we will look at the components. If you open the product package box, there is a body, holder, funnel, cleaning brush, manual, quick guide, and powder container. There is one powder keg in the main body. When you open the battery cover of the main body, you will find two small batteries. Batteries are not included in the components and you have to buy them separately and put them in. Battery test results show that it worked for more than 10 hours consistently. You need to inject powder for use. There are 3 ways to inject the powder. First, putting it right into the main body. Second, putting it in a powder keg. Third, quickly using the tape for injection. When using a tape, if you're putting in a very slow-paced material, you can quickly put the powder through this method. First, when putting the powder into the main body, turn the cap and remove it first. Stick the main body on the floor, insert the funnel, put the powder slightly above the indicator line on the funnel, and then use the bottom part of the cleaning brush to inject the powder. If you put the powder slightly above the line shown in the funnel, it will be about 5 to 7 grams into the powder keg, and depending on the amount of powder used, you can make about 9 to 12 cups of coffee. At this point, keep in mind that some powders can flow a little on the floor due to the nature of the material, and use this type of powder more carefully. Putting the powder directly into the main body can sometimes cause powder to build up in the nozzle. If you press the button and use it right away, the powder may suddenly come out and not be drawn in the intended shape. So please shake off the powder before using it. Second, when you put it in directly into the powder keg, you have to take out the powder bottle from the main body. Then put the powder keg on the floor, stick the funnel on the floor, and put the powder slightly above the marked line shown in the funnel. And use the bottom of the cleaning brush to inject the powder. If you use a paper cup like this, you may put the powder more neatly. Third, when you want to put in the powder a little faster, use this method to add a powder for the part that doesn't go in well. First, attach the tape to the bottom of the powder container and assemble it into the main body to prevent the powder from leaking out. At this point, do not assemble the nozzle, as we have covered the bottom of the powder bottle with a tape. The powder will not leak. And after putting all the powders in, we have to separate and reassemble the powder so we don't have to assemble the nozzle for now. Place the funnel on the top of the main body and put the powder slightly above the line shown in the funnel. Hold the product by hand without attaching it to the floor. While pressing the button, use the cleaning brush to inject the powder in the main body to the funnel. At this point, you should be careful not to be poked by the end of the screw, which runs the product. The reason why you don't attach the product to the floor is that if the screw touches the floor, the product will not work properly. Look! If you're done putting the powder in, take the powder bottle out of the main body, and then remove the tape. Then reassemble the powder bottle into the main body. In case of powders of low viscosity and fine grains, the powders can flow. so please make sure to lay the powder bottle horizontally when assembling into the main body. Do not shake the main body unless you intend to do so. If you shake the main body hard when the powder is inside, the powder may flow. However, it is not a defect, so lift it slightly and use it lightly. You can purchase an additional powder containers. For products such as green tea, cinnamon, chocolate powder, if you do not want to mix the taste, aroma, and the color of the powder, try purchasing an additional powder bottle. Also, if you want to use a large amount of powders, such as in coffee shops, bakeries, and barista training centers, you may purchase an additional powder bottles. Okay then, shall we try using it? When you grab a product, lightly hold the nozzle at the bottom of the product to balance the weight of it, and keep it upright to use it. When you press the bottom, the powder will come out. Now, I'll press it. If you place the pen high above the ground level, then press the button, powder will be released and spread out. At this moment, if you shake it a little bit, you may create a snowflake-like decoration and sprinkle this on cake or bread to decorate it. Do not shake the body if you do not intend to do so. If you shake the body hard with the powder inside, powder may flow out. But this doesn't mean it's broken. Lift it slightly and use it lightly. Now, let's use it. As powder gets close to the ground, it assembles and creates a clear line. When drawing a line, don't turn your wrist but your whole arm to write as if you're writing with a brush and draw the line horizontally. Keeping certain distance from the ground level. At the end, take your finger off the bottom to stop. If you don't take your finger off to stop or lift the pen while pressing the button, it won't be expressed as intended or not be as pretty as it gets dispersed. You must stop at the last position while drawing the line and take your finger off the bottom to stop. If you apply it like this, it will be expressed beautifully as powder doesn't get dispersed. Do not write or draw beforehand, but draw a line bigger to practice. When practicing, try to change the height and speed while drawing. Now, let's draw a big spring shape. Like this. When you think that you could draw the line well, you may write and draw. While practicing, always try changing the height and writing fast and slowly. According to the height and speed, the thickness of the powder varies, so you should practice a lot before being able to use it. High, low, fast. High, low, fast. Or you may stack up the powder to draw a thick and three-dimensional shape. Let's use two different types of powder. As you can see, according to the type of powder, the thickness may vary. Because powder with low viscosity and low density comes out fast, it comes out in a large amount and is drawn in the thick way. It's good to use when you decorate designs or when you decorate cake or bread by sprinkling the powder on it. Because the powder with high viscosity and high density come out slowly, it comes out in small amount and it is drawn thinly. It's good to use for delicate and detailed expression like drawing or writing letters. As you can see, according to the type of powder, thickness can vary. Practice differently according to the characteristic of the powders. Instead of throwing used powder away, gather it all together to use it for practicing and reduce waste of powders. This time, let's use a design. In the case of design, you may use it for the promotional purposes if you customize company name, cafe logo, personal signature, phrases, or image designs. Typically, when using the design, it's pretty hard to use FilterNet and express as intended. If you use our product, you can spread desired amount at wanted position. If you sprinkle gently 1 centimeter above the design, you can decorate it beautifully. If you decorate the design on the milk foam, keep distance between milk foam and the design. It's best when the distance between the milk foam and the design is less than 0.3 to 0.5 centimeter, and it is better to control the amount of powder to spread it lightly instead of using a large amount of powder at once. If you're designing directly on the bread or plate, press the design using finger and fix it on bread or plate and sprinkle the powder as if you're doing a coloring exercise. When removing design after finishing decoration, remove other side while pressing design to maintain decoration. Remember these two: distance between design and surface. Control the amount of powder. After using it, separate cap, nozzle, and body of the product to wash it. Put your fingernail in the groove of the battery cover to detach the cover and remove battery. Turn the cap on the top of the body and remove it. Turn the nozzle to detach it. Slide the cover of powder container and body to detach them. Now everything is separated. Because there are battery and motor inside the body, do not put them in water, but wipe them with wet tissue or wet towel. You may use wet tissue for babies. Wipe every part using a cleansing brush that is given as a component. You may use chopsticks or etching tool, which is used for latte art, to wipe. Wipe screw with cleansing brush that is given as component. You may use wet tissue for babies, toothbrush, sterilized cotton swab to wipe. When washing the screw lightly with water, be careful not to let the water get into the body. Since it is waterproof, you may hold the body with wet hand, but do not put it in the water. Excluding the body, you may wash other components with water. When washing the powder container, remove the rubber ring first. Keep the rubber ring safely to not to lose it. But even if you lost the rubber ring, do not worry. The product still works without the rubber ring, and there is no problem using it. You must remove the leftover powder in the powder container and wash it with water using cleansing brush. Powder container is made up of ABS, and when using detergent to wash, use cleansing brush to completely wash it with water. After washing it with water, lean the powder container to dry it. If you use it in cafe or bakery, you can hygienically use dry product the next day if you lean the washed product after you finish using them. If you press the button with wet hands, or if water is in the area around the button, powder may be solidified and button won't be pressed anymore. In this case, remove the button from the body and wash the cover of the powder container and button, or wipe them with wet tissue. If you wash them, wipe the cover and button with a dry tissue and assemble them together to use the product. When assembling, hold the product horizontally and slightly push it by adjusting the body and groove and the bump of the cover. Turn the nozzle and the body by adjusting the groove and the bump. At this point, make sure screws bump and the powder container's bumps do not touch each other. Finally, adjust and rotate the cap and body groove and the bump. Using any electronics for the first time may be inconvenient, just like using electronics like cell phone, tablet PC, or TV until you get used to them after purchase. You may use the product skillfully if you watch Latte Art Pen video and practice assembling and separating the products for more than 10 times. Thank you.